Hey friends, we're here talking with two other people about COVID-19, about their experience during the crisis. The last couple of videos, the last couple of these interviews that I've done, they've been with two healthcare workers, a chaplain from Ohio Health, and my spiritual director, and a couple other people, just talking about different aspects of what's happening during this pandemic, during this quarantine, all our different levels of isolation, and so that we can get some different perspectives, some things to help us in our lives, and so that we can hear from people who have some different perspectives from ours, um, to hear how it's going for different kinds of people. So today we are talking with two good friends of mine. They'll introduce themselves, but we all know each other from Ohio Northern University, and so let's see. We'll start with Anthony here. Introduce yourself. Say who you are, where you work, and how long you've been there.
My name is Anthony Taylor. I work in Lima, Ohio at Shawnee High School and Shawnee Middle School, where I am the choir director. And I have taught there this is my fourth year there. So I've taught 6 years total. Yeah.
All right, that's awesome.
Mhm.
And Abby, what about you?
I am Abby Altizer. I teach kindergarten through fourth grade music in Newark, Ohio, with Newark City Schools. And this is the very strange end to year 3 for me. Total teaching and in this place. First jobs.
Yeah. So obviously here we're talking with two teachers, and it's been pretty obvious with everybody how teachers' jobs have been affected by this, because with any parent, you all know that your kids have been home, and their teachers have been figuring out what this is going to be like. So for the two of you, whoever wants to, you can answer first. But it's obvious how COVID-19 has affected your jobs. Your kids have been home. You've had to adapt to online learning, in however you've done it. So let's talk about that. What are some of the things that you've done to adapt?
Well, one thing was that from like the first point where they told us that we were going to move to the online, or that even that was like a possibility, I think every music teacher started panicking about, well, what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? How are we going to still get like equal instruction out of the kids? And, you know, but like after dwelling on that and panicking about that for a while, I had to take a step back and realize what's really the most important thing here. And like, unfortunately, the kids have to know their core subjects. And so my goal from the start was not to overwhelm kids with choir when there are all these subjects that they um, they need for testing for their future and to get credits for these classes for graduation, and students who are risking failing out of science, which throws off their entire academic track. And so I had to really take a reality check for myself, and do some online singing assignments that they could send me, and do some writing prompts to make them still listen to music and respond to music, but to not overwhelm them. Yeah. So.
That's hard. I think we're used to being advocates for our own subject matter, and having to do that, to say, you know what, actually, kids, I want you to do your music, but like do your math first.
Yeah.
It's really hard. It's really difficult. I think knocks you down a little bit. For me, there's less pressure on my students for graduation and long-term goals. So I have fourth graders that aren't really concerned with graduation, which is great. However, I also have kindergartners who are not able to independently do their learning, and who aren't really able to just log on to Google Classroom or Class Dojo or any of these platforms that we're using. So the biggest challenge for me and for the other 6 elementary music teachers in my district has been to find a way to give them their music and cover all of our state standards and give them the best experience without, like Anthony said, overwhelming them, and while also taking it easy on their parents to not try and have the parents be responsible for teaching our content, which they are not qualified or in many cases able to do.
Yeah.
So we have sent, the New York City Schools District has done such a good job of having everyone work in teams. So all of the music teachers from my district are working together. So it's not a solo effort, which is amazing that I don't have to be entirely responsible for all the decisions being made.
Mhm.
But essentially, we are making YouTube videos. Check out our channel. It's pretty dang.
Nice.
A lot of me singing at the camera, a lot of puppets, a lot of clapping and like very kindergarten emotions happening. And then we also do Facebook Live every day at noon. One of the teachers is on Facebook Live to answer questions and just like have that time to make connections with students.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Grading has been a real pain
Yeah.
because I don't know, Anthony, I have no idea I can't even wrap my head around what high school teachers are dealing with as far as assessment. But for us, our district has moved that all of the elementary students get either a participation or a non-participation grade. And it's been a really complicated transition into how we assess. I feel like I've rambled about some of the specifics, but yeah, and so the transition for the students then is really, really significant. And then the transition for me being a performance oriented teacher, much like you, Anthony, is that all of my energy and all of what I chose this job for is mostly gone. And I am left behind with all the paperwork that I dread and often don't accomplish on time. That's like all that's left. So it's not great.
And that's really at the core of it, is that music teachers, to an extent, had to, I mean, especially those performance ensembles, had to write new curriculum on top of transitioning to this online format. So where the science teacher maybe was thinking, oh man, now I have to figure out how to teach my lessons online, we had to figure out what to teach.
Yeah.
And figure out how to do that online, which a lot of times we find out is just there's no possible way. And
I have some silver lining on this though. My school, I have no idea what you have, Anthony, but we have been lacking in the music curriculum department. I have textbooks from 2004, many of which they came with like CDs, you know, and the CDs are all broken and the textbooks are all shabby. And this has really brought to light, actually, a lot of the gaps in curriculum that we were facing anyway. And so we've been really like getting on the curriculum director, like, we would love to teach this remotely, but our curriculum is so dated. I mean, we're just going to need some help. So that's been really good. I think it's been eye-opening for the other people in our district to see what we're working with and how much good quality content we are giving, even though we had no guidance to give it. So
yeah. That's a lot of so much of a team. For anyone watching this, maybe you knew that I started out as a music education major. Most of you at Church of the Savior, you all know that I played trumpet, but I started out as a music ed major. Changed that after sometime my sophomore year. Anthony tried really hard to get me to not do that, but so most of us, just from my 3 semesters that I had as a music ed major, most of us have no idea on the best of days what goes on behind the scenes with teachers. But especially now, like you two were just saying, what goes on behind the scenes is just ridiculous for the core subjects, let alone for you two, like Anthony, you said, having to write your own curriculum on top of figuring out how to transition to online. So obviously, none of your training prepared you for this.
Right.
Nothing prepared you to do anything like this. Nothing that you learned at ONU prepared you for this as good as ONU's education program was. It wasn't pandemic level. So, what are you doing right now to take care of yourselves?
Well, that's the tough thing. Is
Mhm.
like, I'm so used to filling my days full of stuff and communication with students and like talking to my coworkers and like building up kids on the daily and feeling so good about myself when I leave, most days about like, oh, I
Mm-hmm.
did a great job today, helped out that kid, we worked with this, had a great day today, or the feeling of, well, we'll get them tomorrow, tomorrow will be a better day. That uh, kind of jungle gym maze you work yourself through with the everyday's life of teaching, and just like now it's gone. So it's been interesting. It's been an interesting transition to try and figure out myself in this time of not having anything to do. So, but I think at the same time, though, we are supposed to be available during work hours
Yeah.
to do stuff. If a kid has a question, we're expected to be there to answer it,
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been tough playing just the sit around game and do nothing, So it's been tough. Some days are hard. I will admit that some days are hard, and like my mental health is, I've struggled with that through my entire life, and so like there are some days that are tough. I mean, especially with now this whole idea of, will we have a job in the fall? What will school look like in the fall? And, I've been looking to buy a house, and I've been house shopping recently, and now I don't know whether I should be doing that or not. So,
Mm.
but, luckily I'm a young, healthy person, and so I need to I like to put that into perspective of I have a job right now still,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
I just need to like keep myself um, in that optimistic paradigm of
Mhm.
it could be a lot worse. And there
Mhm.
are jobs out there that are not teaching, and I think educators get ourselves so trapped in these boxes uh, of what we need to give to our programs and what we need to give to education. And we are educators through and through. Like that's our life. Teaching is not a job, it's a lifestyle,
Oh my gosh.
And so thinking about losing our job is losing our lifestyle. So, but I think we just need to tell ourselves that that's okay. Like if that were to happen, the life does not come to an end.
Mhm.
So that's basically every circle of thought I have about every hour. So
Wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
so do that about 24 times a
Yeah.
day, and that's where I'm at. That's how I
That's it.
biking. I've been
Yeah.
biking lately.
All right.
I
All
cook at
right.
home a
For a
lot
run,
more.
Anthony.
Yeah.
Yay,
All right.
for a run.
That's a good. That's a good word with the that. Being a pastor is similar to that. It's not. This isn't a job. This is a lifestyle too. So it's thinking. I know there are probably some pastors thinking this with smaller churches and all of a sudden canceling worship and now there's no income. Now there's no revenue. How is our salary going to be paid, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, that's a good word for a lot of people where our jobs are. They're not just a job. It's a lifestyle that life's going to go on.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about
Cool.
you, Abby? What are you doing to take care of yourself?
Well, uh, hmm. I feel like it's worth pointing out that one of the things that a lot of teachers love is this summer break situation where they get to go have their own adventures and do whatever they want to do, and
Yeah.
that is the hardest part of year for me. I don't know. um, I drive PJ crazy, my husband, because if there's a long weekend or a spring break or a summer break, and I get all cabin fevery and stir crazy, and I can't function like a normal human person. So I I knew when we left school, the way that we did it here was we went into spring break and then it was extended, and I know that's how it was for a lot of people. Um, I've just been trying to be aware of how much I harass the other people in my household so that I don't damage the relationships that are good
Right.
just by being myself, just so very much myself when I have no work to do. I actually applied for and started working toward my master's degree in the last few weeks.
Yeah.
Hey,
Nice.
awesome.
You know, it's really scary. I've never been an incredible student. I like to think I'm a much better teacher than I am a student. So that has been a really great thing for me to now stress about, other than the apocalypse that we're in.
Yeah, yeah. Where are you getting your master's?
Kent.
Kent. All
We have
right.
a fully online
Yeah.
music ed master's. So that's pretty cool. A bunch of people told me to get it in administration, and I would be the world's worst administrator, but I digress.
Yeah.
So
That's like the most awful job of all time. I would never want to do that.
I feel like there are some people that are so suited for it. I am not those people at all.
I know you're not.
At
I know
all.
you're not.
Work. I can't be in charge of other people. It's anyway. So I've been doing a lot of just reflecting. I did doing this gratitude journaling thing that I've heard really good things about, and I'm just getting started. I'm 2 weeks into that, and it's been helpful because I think I've always been a Pollyanna, silver lining, wanting to find the good things in life person. But like Anthony, I have also struggled with spiraling into
Yeah.
really a lot of darkness. So it's mostly about awareness for me that of my tendencies. I think I'm really growing into an adult at this point. Maybe I should have done that earlier, but all in good time, you know?
Meh.
Yeah.
My sister-in-law, PJ's sister, has been living with us for the last few weeks, and that has been a blessing because I think I would have already spiraled all the way out of control had we not had another living person to speak to. So she, you know what, that right there, speaking to another person in my house that I didn't previously have, I didn't choose to do that, that just happened to me, has been the best thing.
Yeah, the time to reach out to people has been really nice. You know, to where I could go like days without time to speak to people. You know, and just like I'll have 20 minutes between something to do in my day, or I'll have like, you know, an hour to go home and eat dinner, and then before I'm rush off to the next thing, like now I can like call people and talk and like set up Zoom meetings and talk to my pastor friends and you know, so that has been a nice part of it. It's just the time to reconnect.
Yeah.
I have not had that experience. I think it's gotten worse for me.
Well,
Before I would call people on my commute. That was like, I stopped listening to podcasts and just started calling my mommy. And that was really good. And now I just sit around and wallow sometimes, and I think, oh, I should call someone, and then I just don't. Old habits, you know, die hard. And I found that it's harder because also I don't have anything to talk about. I can't call someone excited about what I did at school today.
Yeah.
All I have to do is call and be like, hey, how are you? And they're like, well, hanging at home because of the Rona. And I'm like, hey, me too. And then the conversation's over.
Yeah.
It's like everyone talks about the same 3 topics.
Yep.
What are you doing at home? It's about what people are doing at Walmart and what the world will look like in 3 weeks. Like that's it.
And I can't speculate. There's something that's bad for my mental health is speculating.
Yeah. So with all of that, that's a lot of stuff. Let me just name that.
Yeah,
sorry.
No, it's
you
not
chose
bad.
2 very talky people.
That's why I chose you two. That's why I chose you. And I should say for anybody, I did Abby's wedding, and with 3 sessions of premarital counseling before that, and so I just know how what was the word I used in your wedding for aggressively kind. I think that's the word I used.
Oh, yeah. That is a good description.
Yeah.
Aggressive. I can see that.
Yeah.
But that's so sad.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's fine.
So let me just name that. That's a lot of stuff that we're dealing with, and all of us working, especially those of us either furloughed or home like these two, if whoever's watching. Um, there's a lot of stuff hanging around, and I want to name this. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So especially this month, pay attention to it all the time. But if you need a stimulus to do that, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So pay attention to that. There are resources out there to help you. Um, if from Church of the Savior, if you need to talk to anyone, I am not a mental health professional. A lot of that will be above my pay grade, but I have two ears and a compassionate presence to offer there. For anybody, if you're Church of the Savior or not.
Mhm.
We So pay attention to that. There's a lot of stuff going on, what these two talked about. There's a lot of stuff weighing on us right now. So let me just name that. But coming off of that, what's been your biggest learning from this time? We've already kind of broached into that, but what's been your biggest learning from this time?
Um, just like what's important,
Mm,
just priorities. Like you like think like people are important. Like in like things and events and those kinds of things that we put so much time and focus and effort and stress into are just not. And at this time where we're seeing, people lose family members and we're seeing people just really struggling and we're seeing, people losing their jobs, like the day-to-day issues just aren't problems. They're just really not. I mean, like if we would just stop putting so much effort into worrying about the things that don't deserve to be worried about, I think we would be so much happier. I think a lot of bad days would turn into pretty okay days, where
Yeah.
some things that weren't so great got sprinkled into it. But because right now it's bad. Like right now, the world it's not great. And so this is something that you can care about and to be upset about. But when things get back to normal, I hope that people can have more appreciation for everyday life and what might come into that might be slightly unpleasant, um, but is really in reality not that bad.
mm, yeah.
I think that mine has been like an awareness of my students' struggles, putting some of those their realities to the forefront of my mind, because in transitioning into online learning, we have been like providing devices to kids that don't have devices, and that on the surface seems like a relatively simple prospect. Some kids don't have devices and need them. Here you go. But in the process, I've been learning about a lot of my students' living situations where that hierarchy of needs, they're just much lower on that pyramid than I am and that I ever imagined that they would have to be. So I know that, there are kids with divorced parents who are living with one of their parents despite a custody agreement because they're quarantined, or like siblings being split up, or kids having, or households having more kids in them than usual. Uh, there's a lot to unpack there from my students, and just like the idea of having to let go of the importance of music in comparison to their core subjects, I'm also having to let go of the importance of their education as compared to their connections, their like human interactions. So I'm trying to reach out to my kids, and I have like 450 students. I know, Anthony, being a music teacher, you can relate to that.
Yep.
I don't want to cry about it. I just have a lot of kids that are dealing with a lot of stuff, and I knew that in the back of my head the whole time, but this has really brought a lot of it to the forefront.
That's okay. You're good.
Bill,
Yeah.
that's terrifying.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's really bad. And the second time I've been
What
at school when
aliens
the
are
bell
coming?
rings and nothing happens, it's horrifying.
Uh-huh. Mm. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, just we're providing like lunches and things because that's what we do during the school day.
Mm.
That's where a lot of people are relying on their meals to come from, and seeing my kids coming here and not knowing what they're going home to after. And I've got a lot of free time to think about it. It's bad. It's really bad.
Mhm. Mhm. Mm.
And that's kind of been the discussion when that I've talked about with some of my other teacher friends is when fall comes, if kids go back to school, or if kids don't go back to school and parents go back to work, how does that happen? So where do
Yeah.
those kids go? What if there's no babysitter available? You know, if mom and dad are the only babysitters, what are we gonna find? Like, you know, supervision for 800 students for 1,000 kids. You know that's one of the big questions. I think is what if the kids don't go back and their parents do? What's going to happen? Or if the kids, or even if we do blended learning of half the kids go back and half the kids stay home and do online. Well, their parents, what are work and jobs going to let their parents stay home and keep doing online, or what?
Mhm.
There's just so many questions that are based on the kids' lifestyles and what they have going on. And I mean, I try to be very active, and knowing of the kids' lives and what's going on, and trying to see when I see a kid going through emotional turmoil. And so for me, I think of those kids who I know have bad home lives, and like I know details of their bad home lives, and like every day it just like makes me sick. Just
Mhm.
like thinking of like, is this going to be a bad day for them? Is this going to be a good day for them? What's going on with mom and dad, brother, sister?
Mhm.
And it's and that's the other thing about the lifestyle part of teaching is that no one else thinks like that. Like that, they're being a pastor, maybe being a priest, but no other job requires that much, uh, you know, di- diving into the lives of your consumer, to where
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
really make this connection with them to help them grow and
Yeah.
to figure out how they learn best and how they think best and make them ready for the day of school.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just tough. It's just really tough.
Yeah.
I know a lot of my students are coming to school with the actual mindset that they are escaping
Mm-hmm.
what is at home for school. And I really, yeah, I'm concerned about those kids that don't have an escape right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Wow. I appreciate you both being so honest. I really do.
Well,
And the lights, there we go. But I appreciate the both of you being so honest on this. I think that this was a great conversation. I appreciate that.
well, I
Yeah.
appreciate you doing it, Andy.
Absolutely. Yeah. Either of you have anything else that you want to add or plug or anything like that?
If we could just do this for another 6 to 8 hours.
I mean, the three of us can keep talking off mic.
um,
But for the purpose of the recording, either you got anything to plug or anything to add or anything like that?
If your school districts are looking to pass a levy, you should vote for it because
it's a good plug.
this is why. Right now, a lot of schools who have failed levies in the last 3 to 5 years, this is going to hurt them greatly. So, like for us, we were supposed to pass a levy. We tried to pass one last year, and it did not pass. And we are now going to pay for it. So, with people's livelihoods. So,
Yeah.
vote for your school levies.
Yeah. That's why local elections matters, people. Abby, you got anything to bring up? Anything else? If not, that's okay. Just leaving it
Would
up.
have came to the bell. Plug that right now.
Yeah.
I just reach out to the parents out there.
Mhm.
You know, if you have your own kids, I see you. It is tough out there right now. I've seen a lot of the parents from my district. Like, I know I've done a fair amount of wallowing about what is wrong with my life here today, but I know it's been just unbelievably difficult for parents of school-age kids and everyone. But those parents, man, they're doing so much. So reach out to them and see if there's anything you can do to be supportive, even if it's just like having that conversation.
Yeah.
And that's probably true of everyone.
Mm.
Reach out to your people.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, I so appreciate the both of you coming on here. And that was a really good conversation. I appreciate it.
Oh, well, thanks.
Yeah,
I'm so glad
Worried I
you
wouldn't
think
have
so.
anything good to say.
yeah,
Watching.
yeah. So like the three of us can keep talking off camera, but for the recording, if you have questions about this, friends, just let me know. We're going to keep doing our thing with Church of the Savior. When we know when we're going to gather again for worship, for in-person worship, we will let you all know. But for now, we're going to keep gathering online. We're going to keep doing our thing. And we're going to get through this. There is another side. We're going to get through this, friend. But for now, grace and peace.